Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the TANCHJIM Kara. This has been a long time in the works. I mean, this IM was maybe teased 6, maybe even 8 months ago, and it's been continuously, well, I wouldn't say delayed, but continuously put forward its launch and so on. And now finally, a couple of weeks ago, it was finally shown in Japan at some audio shows over there. And well, here I have one, courtesy of Hi-Fi Go. And yeah, well, let's just get into the unboxing. Very typical TANCHJIM packaging. I mean, this is what is to be expected, I guess. Open up the sleeve. Open up the box. And well, straight away, the IMs came over there. Underneath here is the carrying box, which I'll show to you in a second, okay, which is this carrying box, which I personally think that although it's large, I think it's nice. I really do think it's nice. Okay, it's not going to be the easiest thing to carry around, but if you're gonna, I mean, to put in your pant trousers, in your trousers and so on, I don't think this is going to be possible. But if you're going to put it into your gym bag or something, it will be more than fine and will be protected quite well. I mean, this is rock solid. Anyway, this is the box. I actually think it's nice, contrary to some comments I've heard that it's huge and so on. I mean, that's the box of the MoonDrop. So anyway, it is what it is. And then underneath that little tray there, we have all these tips, which are announced as being the APB tips from TANCHJIM. Personally, and after trying the APBs, and I'm actually a big fan of the APB tips, but in this particular case, I don't think the APB tips are doing the Kara justice. I really don't. They perform, I guess, adequately, and they will probably be very good for a lot of people. But in my particular case, with my ears that are a little bit on the weird side sometimes, I don't think the APBs are extracting the best that the Kara has to offer. Anyway, that's the box. Ample accessories. It's to be expected. This is being sold for around $170. It's to be expected at this price that we have a good packaging, a good accessories package as well, and TANCHJIM has delivered. Anyway, that is that. Let's just get this out of the way here, and then let's look at the actual Kara. All right, that's the IM itself. I'm not using the stock cable. I'll get into that in a second. Okay, that's a shell which is kind of reminding us of the shell of the to a certain extent of the Oxygen and of the HANA 2021. Okay, it's a really nice shell. It's got in terms of its size, it's very very ergonomically correct. It doesn't have the issue with the nozzle length, which was a problem with the Oxygen, and that some people had issues with that. So it's got a good nozzle length. It's a 1+4 hybrid. Okay, so and everything is very nicely packaged inside. You can get a glimpse here underneath the faceplate of the actual crossover network, and it seems to be using a crossover network which is well, let's say visually at least, it seems to be well designed. It's not just some components soldered on the wires or anything of the sort. No, it seems to be having a proper PCB with some proper components. I would almost assume, I would probably say it's actually using an RLC crossover philosophy, much like the F4 Performer 5 also does. And yeah, that's it. I mean, ergonomically it fits nice, but with regards to the tips, with the APB tips, I was just having with the wide bores, I actually got it to sitting not bad, but with the narrow bores, I guess maybe they just not the right diameter for me, and that's why I was having some difficulty. So I ended up resorting to 3 tips, which I actually tried during my review. And funny enough, when I tell you which is actually the tips that perform the best, you're going to have a good laugh. So I tried the KBE 07, the yellow size, which is a large ones, okay, and I mean they performed flawlessly. I was expecting that. Okay, they performed flawlessly. I tried the TruthEars as well. Okay, as well, large size. They also performed very, very nicely. Just a little bit more of a little peak there at around the 8K area, but I mean it's not noticeable. So I'm assuming this will be an interaction between the depth of insertion into the coupler, and then the actual coupler usually does that peak there, that area. And then the one that actually surprised me the most and gave me just edged out the other two in terms of performance is the KZ ear star tips. I mean, you know, it's one of those things you kind of say to yourself, how? Well, it is. It's the one that first of all reduced that coupler related peak to the lowest level, and it just sounds good. It just sounds really smooth in the upper registers, you know, treble and the past 10K area, you know, the air. It just sounds really nice, really smooth, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, anyway, those are the tips. I think it would be worthwhile. Those of you that actually do get the Kara, give them a try. I mean, you're bound to have them if you've got some KZ products. As for the cable, I'm using a Jazeer cable. You can buy this cable separately from Global Audio Store on AliExpress. And why am I using it? First of all, because it's a fantastic cable. It's a cable that actually comes with the 41T stock and also comes with the Jazeer Flame, which is in essence the same IEM. It's a very good cable. Honestly, very good. It measures flawlessly. And compared to the stock cable of the TANCHJIM, and that's the only area where I actually, you know, I was expecting a little bit more. I mean, this is the stock cable. You know, you got such a nice accessories. You got a nice ample supply of tips. You got a nice case. Why? I don't know. I think the cable, they could have done something else a little bit nicer. Oh, I forgot to mention the shell seems to be a 3D printed resin, which, I mean, it looks good and it does have a nice solid feel to it, but in terms of its, I would say, overall construction, there are more substantial IEMs. I mean, the 41T, for example, with its all resin shell, looks. I mean, seriously, if you haven't seen this IEM up live, this looks like the S8, you know, the MoonDrop S8 and that kind of stuff. It's a beautiful resin shell, and costs the same thing. So I'm guessing that a little bit of an improvement could have been done there. But like I said, this is just me nitpicking now. This is me just a little small call to attention with regards to the construction. That although not bad. I feel that it's just a little bit below what usually TANCHJIM does for its more high-end products, and I would have liked something a little bit more substantial, to be honest. Okay. Anyway, that's the IEM in its physical aspects and how it looks and how it sits in your ears and all of that. What then do I have here to compare it with? Well, I brought some which are at the same price point and are, to a certain extent, you could call them references. And then I brought two that, one is has been a reference of a hybrid of mine, of what a hybrid, you know, could be or should be like. And another one has been is an IEM that was launched also recently, that also kind of follows the same tuning philosophy. This is kind of like a, you could say this is kind of got like a harmonish vibe going to it. Anyway, the IEMs in question are the SoundDrive, the SR5, 1+4 as well, priced at $149. The Jazeer 41T, 1+4 as well, priced at $163. The Full Performer 5, actually now during the sales it's come down, it's $185 if I'm not mistaken, but usually it's about $209, also 1+4. Then the Blessing B3, $319, 2+4. And then finally in the corner, the Awur Audio, now discontinued. It's a 1+6, and also the most expensive of all of them, $300. It was almost $400 when it was still available. Of all these IEMs here, the two that for a long time have been my go-to references, and are their full Performer 5 and the Award. Obviously a big disparity in price, 200, almost 400, twice the price. But in terms of overall performance, they are very, very equal. I know some people don't exactly agree with that, but personally, I think that with my music style, with what I listen to, they perform very equal. Perhaps the Award has just a little bit extra warmth in the bass in some occasions, but in terms of overall extension up top and that sense of air, the Performer 5 has got more of it. Both of them in the mids are flawless. So they're honestly just trade blows. There isn't a definite winner between the two of them in terms of the sound. In terms of value for money, the Performer 5 is unquestionably the better buy. I mean, you can buy almost two Performer 5s for the price of what the Award used to be. As for the Kara, the Kara is following a tuning, like I said, which is kind of harmonious, and it's got that bass curve which is very reminiscent of the TruthEars Zero, the QKZ Khan, the MoonDrop variations. So it's got that bass curve that by 250, 300 hertz it's down, so it's kind of like a hump, flat, and then starts a nice slow progressive pin again. And then it only has a little bit of a peak there at around 8K, which again, it's a couplet related, not really a peak that exists there, and then some extension past 10K. Depending on what tip you use, you will get more of that extension past 10K. Excuse me. Excuse me. If it's the Starline or if it's the Softears, you get a little bit more of a plateaued extension. If it's the KB ear, you get more of the dip and then some extension. When I mean the dip, is the dip past 10K and then extension. So this, in terms of the bass, as I mentioned, has got that bass which is not tucked in, that is tucked in. It's not that gliding type of bass, that just slowly comes down. No, it's got that tucked bass with a very nice emphasis on the sub bass. But by no means, which sometimes happens, is there any lack of slam or anything of the sort. No. If anything, what I did notice was that the Kara needs a little bit more volume to get it to the same playing level as some of these other IEMs here. Some of them are very easy to drive. For example, the Sound Drum is pretty easy to drive. Their full Performer 5 as well is pretty easy to drive. Although they do benefit, of course, from power. But the Kara, the 41T, and the Blessing as well, to a certain extent, or IEMs that seem to come alive when you increase the volume. They open up completely. Excuse me. And that was definitely the case here. So at lower volumes, my initial impression of it, I was kind of a little bit disappointed to a certain extent, because I was expecting something a little bit more, a little bit more, I'm not going to say engaging, but I was expecting more that sense of hi-fi, of something really unique, and I wasn't really getting it. Only when I started increasing the volume. And by the way, I used my Prime deck with my Venture Electronics Prime deck, which is over here with the RA2B, and I also used the Lotto, the Poor Gold. So in terms of the source, I'm sure that nobody will be saying, "Oh, you didn't use proper sources and you didn't give it, you're not giving it a fighting chance." No, I gave it a fighting chance, although it didn't even really need these sources, because it is a very good IEM, and I've already kind of spoiled everything by saying that. So it is an IEM that when you listen to it, initially I had that issue, but once that is passed, and once you found the right tip, and once you give it the right amount of volume for things to really come alive, it is an IEM that will satisfy a lot of people. And it will satisfy a lot of people because the tuning is a very pleasant tuning. It's a very easy to listen to IEM. It's got great bass, with that emphasis on the sub bass, as I was saying, but the bass is still clean, it's still got plenty of slam, still got plenty of texture. And then the mids are absolutely amazing, and I honestly wasn't expecting anything else with regards to the mids from TANCHJIM. They do well, they know how to do mids. and the mids are flawless, honestly flawless. I really can't emphasize that enough. The mids on the Kara are very, very good. Male vocals have got the right amount of weight, timbre. Female vocals as well. They extend, they clean. You listen to things like, for example, let me just give you a few examples here of what I'm talking about, so you guys can have a perception. You listen to, let me see here. Unconditional from Soul Persona, beautiful. Swept Away from Carol Dubach, any Elephant from Carol Dubach, amazing. Okay, really good. Cecil Norby, or you and Jacinta Moon River. I mean, Jacinta Moon River, beautiful execution. It definitely is one of those IEMs that will draw you in, captivate your attention, and keep your attention, because it knows how to push you in when it has to push you in. Okay, it's never an IM, or never. I never found it to be an IM that I got fatigued of listening to. No, it's a very easy to listen to IM, and the more you listen to, yes, a certain amount of brain burn and so on and so forth, but the more you listen to it, the more you start getting into the magic of what the Kara offers. And to say something now, again, a little bit bold, TANCHJIM had the Oxygen, which was flawless in my opinion, and is still a reference. Many have tried to emulate it, and some have come very close. But the TANCHJIM Oxygen is the TANCHJIM Oxygen. The 100-2021 was almost there, but wasn't the same thing. It was a bassier Oxygen, and kind of lost the magic. Then you had the Prism, which was ridiculously expensive, and for 1+2 playing $600, and you don't get that $600 sound, especially when you have other IEMs at half the price. Even its own Oxygen was better in my opinion, And then they've had like the smaller ones, the Zero and the Ola and the Tanyas and all of that. But besides the Oxygen, they've not had a real IEM that can bring back that former glory until the Kara came along. And I honestly think that the Kara will revive that past glory of TANCHJIM in terms of how they how they make IEMs, how they tune IEMs, what they are capable of offering. It is really that good in my opinion. And coupled to that, the price that they've put the IEM at is a killer price. I mean, $170 for this level of, and let's put aside now the accessories, for this level of performance. $170 is, I would say that this is probably the IEM that has come closest, or is this year's IEM that's done what the Full Performer 5 did last year. Okay, it's come in and it's really shaken the foundation of what can be offered at under $200 in a hybrid. That's how good I truly think it is. Okay, anyway, continuing here with my assessment of the sound. So the mids, in my opinion, are fine or perfect. There's nothing to be said about them. Vocals, instruments, or both in terms of tonality and timbre, are spot on. You hear things like Tequila Moon from Jesse J. It's an absolute pleasure to listen to. You listen to Comfort Zone, the live version from Larry Carlton, again, an absolute pleasure to listen to. And even things which are a little bit more dynamic, like Riviera for the Bob Zob remix, perfect. I've also been listening to a lot of it just happened casually, but I've been listening to a lot of house music lately, and it's more than capable of conveying that house music vibe with enough weight to the bass, with enough dynamics to make the songs engaging. I mean, I'll post in my description a few songs that you guys can maybe listen to it. But some of you that might know Black Coffee, you listen to some of the songs on Black Coffee on here, and it does those songs more than justice, trust me. But then again, not only is it capable of doing that, but like I just said, but it's, it will also take stuff like Tequila Moon from Jesse J, or it will take Up and Up from Jeff Ryan. It will take things like Cecile Norby's In a Central Mood, and play them flawlessly. So it's a very versatile IEM with regards to what genres of music it can play. Extension, fine. Not in any way lacking. It's got more than enough extension up top. The only thing that I did mention in the beginning, and I will say again, is the tip will determine how clean and that air, okay, is. And funny enough, out of all the tips, stock ones and all the tips, the ones that actually gave me that little bit extra, but I mean very minor, honestly, very minor, are the Starlines. The only reason why the Starlines just didn't stay on is because they are I mean, a little bit narrower in their diameter, and so I would have to be adjusting it more often to stay in my ears. While with the 07s, I don't have to do that, and even with the soft ears, I also don't have to do that. In terms of its technicalities, soundstage, it's more than wide enough, in my opinion. It could be a little bit deeper, okay? It is very capable of doing that left and right sensation on panning and so on. Excuse me. Does that very well. Imaging as well, pretty decent. Very good detailed retrieval, in my opinion. Resolution as well, also fine. I mean, technically, it's not amazing. Let's put it that way. It's not amazing, but it's also more than adequate for its price and for where it is actually, inserted in terms of its price point. Compared then, to these IEMs that I selected, how do I place it? Well, compared to the SoundJIM, yes, has got a fuller bass, but it's more of a mid-bass thing than anything else. But you notice that this has got a more polished bass than the SoundJIM. It's also the SoundJIM has an earlier pin again, which pushes things forward a little bit too much. For those that like a more forward presentation, I would say that probably the SoundJIM would be the better option. For those that want a more relaxed, easygoing, less fatiguing presentation, ultimately, definitely the Kara. The SoundJIM with the foam tips like I have it here, for me it works fine. But if I have it with any type of silicone tips, it becomes fatiguing for me after a while. So yeah, I mean, you could say that it's, taking into consideration as well the price. I mean, there's a $20 difference here. Definitely the Kara is a superior IEM. With regards to the 41T, the biggest difference you see between the 41T and the Kara is in the treble and the past 10K, how it's handled. Both of them have a very, although the bass style is different, that's a gliding style bass and this is a tucked bass, but the bass and the mids for the most part are very much matched. It's just the treble that then the Kara has got a little bit more spark, a little bit more twinklies. So if this is smooth, that is even smoother, okay? Let's put it that way. But I wouldn't really say it is a better IEM. They are very equal, honestly, very, very equal. Again, look, the same thing can be said there. It all depends ultimately what you want, okay? But for my music, for what I listen to, this is a better IEM than the SR5. With regards to the 41T, very evenly matched. I guess I would ultimately at the end of the day choose the Kara because of that little extra amount of treble that I have. But I would definitely handle this better than this, this comparison. Yeah. Compared to the Full Performer 5, again, we have very much the repeat of what we have there with the 41T. Bass-wise, the Kara is slightly better. It's got a slightly fuller sub bass. Mids very equal, and then the extension, both of them have very good extension. There really isn't much between here. The difference that exists here is the price. And ultimately the fit, and ultimately the accessories, and what will be the one that will satisfy you the most. The Kara, with the price that it has, like I said, it's really complicating things for most of the other brands. So very equal. Mids, which is the star of the show here in the Kara, and the mids there on the P5 are evenly matched, and the rest, the bass and they trade blows. They honestly do trade blows. With regards to the Blessing 3, obviously this is a very big price difference here, but ultimately this does everything the Blessing 3 does and extra. And based on that, and based on the big price difference that there is between the two, the Kara is a better IEM. Okay, it is. Fair enough, you might say, oh, but the Blessing 3 has been tuned purposely to have a low bass and this and that. Okay, fine. And truth be told as well, that my particular Blessing 3, now that he has played for a substantial amount of hours, and I've had it, just burning in and sometimes listening to it and so on and so forth, I have to say that the bass is now much better than it was when it initially came. It has loads of quality. The bass in the Blessing 3, in terms of the quality, is not the problem. It's just in terms of the quantity of that bass that sometimes, you left a little bit wishing you had more. And in that aspect, the Kara is better. With regards to the mids, they are very evenly matched, but the balance between the mids and the bass here, and the balance there, is more favorable towards the Kara. So the Kara ends up giving you a nicer, more, I guess, it's maybe not the best word, but a more lush presentation, okay? And as I said again, I mean, we're talking a price difference which is quite significant. Fair enough. I mean, the Blessing 3 does have a build quality which is superior. Accessories and so on are basically the same, so it's not over there. But the build, this shell is absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. And then finally, with the Award, we have very much the same kind of situation that we had with the Performer 5, which is, yes, you do notice that the bass here has got a little bit more mid-bass, more bass presence, so it can fill out a little bit better some instances, some songs, as compared to the Kara. That's true, I'm not going to deny it. But then in terms of the mids, they are, I mean, this and the Kara, they are very, very equal. And then extension, there's more extension here, more treble on the Kara. Not a huge difference, but there is a little bit more treble on the Kara. Ultimately, what is my decision between the two of them? They are very, very equal. They trade blows, very much so. They really trade blows, very much so. I would say it's honestly it's a difficult one here to. I mean, there's, like, you listen to a song like Musical Genocide from Gregory Porter. You listen to it, for example, say it first time on the Award, and it is a really nice song. I mean, the Award does it beautifully. You straight away go listen to it on the Kara, and if you don't match the volume properly, you are left automatically with that perception of no, the Award is better, game over. Now you match the volume so that they are both playing at the same level, and then you start seeing the magic of the Kara. The Kara is really, really good. You listen to High Stepping from Larry Carlton. That perhaps is one of the songs that I would say maybe the Award edges it out. Does it edge it out by a lot? No, it doesn't, but it edges it out. You listen to Sweat from JK, the JK Reviv remix. Again, that's a song that this maybe just edges it out the Kara slightly, because it's just got a little bit more fun to it. Okay, but on that on that premise of fun and smoothness and so on, La Belle Dame Sans Remorse from Chris Potti on the Kara, for me at least, is better reproduced than in the Award. Again, not a huge difference. It's just if the song is smooth, let's put it that way. If the song is smooth by nature, the Kara will really make it shine. If the song's got a little bit more dynamics, it will do well. But there are times where there will be IEMs, and in this particular case, the Award will shine a little bit more. It's look, guys, let's be honest about it, and be truthful. The level of equipment right now that we have available is very, very equal. And I've said this time and time again, it's extremely difficult for me to sit here and tell you, no, now you must go buy the Kara because the Kara is the latest, the best. No, I'm not going to tell you that. What I am going to tell you is that it is a very nice offering from TANCHJIM, that is very well priced, that gives some of the players in its price point and above a really good go, a really good go. And if you don't have any of them, this is perhaps something that you can consider. If you do have these IEMs, then listen to it first. Don't just go out and buy it. I mean, if you have an Aoud, you've got an amazing IM. Why would you go buy a Kara? It doesn't make sense, understand? If you have a P5, as well, the same situation. If you have an SR5, then I would say yes, go buy maybe contemplate buying the Kara, because that's got a more dynamic presentation. This is a smoother presentation. If you have the 41T, these are both smooth, so it's kind of, no point really. So yeah, guys, that's basically it. I mean, there's not much more I can say. I'll show you now the graphs as usual, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, you take care now. Hi guys, and welcome now to the graph section for the TANCHJIM Kara. This is the TANCHJIM Kara with the stock APB tip. I apologize for this noise that I keep on getting with the measurements of the Kara, because I did other measurements at the same time as well to just make sure that I was, correct. And I never got this kind of noise in the measurement. I can only assume that this noise is probably caused by, I don't know, something internally of the IM, the crossover. Somehow there's something there that just is not working right, because I tried various tips and I always got this noise. More or less, I always got this noise. Anyway, that's with the APB tips. With the KB Ear 07 tip, that's the measurement I got. Cleaned up a little bit here. It could be with regards to the thickness of the actual silicone used. I don't know what it is, honestly. I really don't know, because I tried so many tips, and I tried and always kept on doing this, and with the other IMs I wasn't getting this problem. Overall, the sound is very similar. You just feel that there's more sense of air, okay, like I said, soundstage, that sense of air is slightly bigger with the 07 tip. And then finally, the tip that really surprised me was the KZ Starline. As you can see there, again, very similar. It's the one that actually has probably, although it doesn't seem like it yet, but this peak and this balance between, let's say, this 4 and above area, it just sounds a little bit cleaner on the Starline. Okay, that's it. Anyway, I'm going to leave the graph of the 07 tip on for the Kara. Just please note that this peak is not as noticeable, not even close, as what you might think by the graph. Okay, first graph I'm going to show you is of the SoundDrime SR5. I've normalized it at 500 hertz. The SR5 just sounds, I don't know how to explain this, because it's a kind of a little bit of a weird one. By looking at the graph, you would never think that this SR5 is thicker sounding, but it is. It sounds thicker, and it sounds more forward. Okay, and what that basically means is that with longer listening sessions, I got myself a little bit fatigued, and I'm guessing this is down to the balance of how things are. While on the Kara, the balance between the bass and let's assume like 60 hertz. Okay, 60 hertz there, and the peak of the mids, let's say 3K. There's a little bit tendency of the bass to be a little bit higher than the mids, so it's skewed downwards. With the SR5, we have the opposite situation. The bass is over there at 60 hertz, and the mids at 3K or higher. So it's a sound which is more mid-focused, there's more energy in the mids, and so with certain songs, you notice that forwardness, okay, that extra energy, and it just gets a little bit fatiguing. I mean, this is me really nitpicking now, guys, so don't take this literally to the dot by what I'm saying. The SR5 is a fantastic IM, and for the price that it has, $149, you can't really truly fault it, because it's a well-tuned, it's a well-built IM. Anyway, that's the SR5. The next one I'm going to be showing you now is the Jazeer 41T, and the Jazeer 41T is, again, by looking at the graph, you don't think it, but it's it's just as smooth as the Kara. The Kara just has a little bit more bass. The mids very equal, but then less treble, less extension on the 41T, but they're equally very smooth, very, very relaxed. Ultimately, yes, like I said, I guess I would probably take the Kara, just because it can play back one or two songs just slightly better. But I would consider these two more of a side grade to each other than necessarily an upgrade. While with regards to the SR5, I think it's an upgrade. The Kara is an upgrade, definitely. Okay, so that's that. Next one I'm going to show you now is the Full Performer 5. Let me just change the color here now. Let's make it red so it really stands out. Okay, that's the Full Performer 5. Very much the same situation as I mentioned with the 41T, as you can see there, but the difference is, as you can notice here, the Performer 5 has got way more treble, way more extension, so you notice it's a more clean, it's a more lively presentation. The rest is very similar. Mids, everything is, again, very equal performance between the two of these. Okay, maybe occasionally the bass on the Kara will edge out the P5, but they're very equal, trust me. The next one now is the two more expensive IEMs that I chose. In the first one here is the Awur Audio Awur, and I think the graph is very self-explanatory. There's a little bit more detail on the Kara, a little bit more extension as well, but the difference is not huge. Ultimately, you know, it's the same situation that you have with the P5 from Awur. These are three IEMs which are very equal in their performance. There's not really dramatic areas where you see monumental differences, and then of course if you consider the price, I mean the Awur was twice the price of the TANCHJIM. So I think that the fact that the TANCHJIM is able to offer a performance which is very comparable to the Awur, which is was one and is still one of my references, is I think you know, more than testament to how good the Kara is. And then finally here, the Blessing 3. Let me just again change the color to red so that it can stand out a little bit more. There we go. That's the Blessing 3. And the Blessing 3, you can see similarities, okay, straight away, the way that the mids and everything is done. But because of this, as I mentioned just earlier, because of this very lean style of bass, which is not as lean as it seems here, mind you, it's not as lean, but there is a different tendency of it being more mid-focused. You notice that the presentation of the Blessing is a little bit more clinical. It lacks a little bit that timbre and tonality that I so much enjoy. And in terms of timbre and tonality, the Kara is, for me at least, it's spot on. And I just think it's a better IM. I honestly think that the Kara is a better IM because there's a better balance of frequency. There's a better, it's a more musical IM. To maybe resume this to an easier way of saying things, the Kara is definitely a way more musical IM than the Blessing 3. The Blessing 3 will probably be an IM that will satisfy more the technically inclined, although the Kara, you know, is very capable in that aspect. And that's it, guys. I mean, like I said, there's really not much I can put as a flaw on the Kara because it is a good IM. And now it's a question of you not having any of the IMs that I mentioned, and you're looking for something new, and perhaps auditioning the Kara and saying, okay, this is an option that I like. I agree with Akros, I agree with Tony with what he's saying, and I'm going to get it. But if you have some of these other IMs, I mean, be more sensible. Don't just pull the trigger straight away and buy it, because you know, if you have an Awur, it doesn't make sense. If you have a P5, probably also doesn't make sense. The same situation, you know. It will make sense if you have an SR5 because you will see a big difference there, you know, or you will be able to complement more what you listen to, perhaps. You know, if you have the Blessing 3 as well, it will probably make sense as well, because you have one which will be more clinical, more technical, and the other one which will be more musical. And yeah, that's it, guys. Anyway, as usual, like and subscribe. Any questions you might have, please ask away, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. All right, you take care now. Bye bye.